also the soda became the thing of the day. So.
And something else that Bud talked a lot about when we were planning for this is the medicines that have changed our lives, and it's the reason that we're living so much longer. And he talked about this ad campaign, which I found a picture on the internet that the government did, talking about penicillin and how more of our soldiers will be coming home because of this medicine. So, do you want to talk about any of the other? Obviously, aspirin. We all know how that is.
Well, aspirin actually went back to Hippocrates almost like 3,500, 4,000 years ago. And it was developed, it came from the willow bark, which was, that they would take down. They knew that it would ease fever, help with aches and pains. And then also the plant that we know is spirea, which is most of us, we got them in our backyard as an ornamental plant. Another one was foxglove, which had digitalis, which was a life-saving cardiac, improved the function of the heart and rhythm of the heart. And then also they had, in the 50s, they came up with tetracycline, which is actually the first broad-spectrum antibiotic that really made a difference in the prescribing habits. And I know Jim, I'm sure he's written 1,000 prescriptions for tetracycline. So there's just a lot of, and at the same time, most of the drugs were compounded. My father and grandfather both compounded a lot of medications with elixirs and ointments and creams and that type of thing. But then with the invention, not invention, but the scientific method in the germ disease, where they started relating microbes or bacteria against, disease-causing pathogens. So it was really a changing time.
Some other interesting things that I found out is if you look up any kind of pictures of drugstores, they all kind of had that same look. And so the things that they all had in common were on the outer signage. It would say drugs or drugstore, luncheonette, prescriptions, because they didn't want to be mistaken for what they weren't. So everybody had these key words and key signs like the RX, the prescription symbol, and different things like that. The mortar and pestle, all of these things were in common in every small town drugstore that there was. Everybody, they all looked so similar. It's very interesting to just get on the internet and research and see how much they all look like a Denham's drugstore did. So I think if anybody has any questions, I think we have time, Betsy, that maybe they can take some questions, but that was really the gist of it. I did do a small little video that's very nostalgic that I want to share with you because I do really appreciate, and I know lots of people do, that it's something that is lost and it's not going to come back. It's definitely not going to come back, so to remember it. So I did pull some pictures, some old pictures from the drugstore, and also from just various small town drugstores across the country that I'll share with you. And there are pictures in front of you. Also, Shirley, do you want to talk about the picture frames and what's on the table here for everybody to see?
Yeah, that's off my bookshelf.
Yeah.
There's a picture of my mother and dad there. And then there's a picture of our grandfather, who worked at the store too. And then there's a picture
I think
of
Bud's
Bud
got
with
one.
all the 3 certificates of Pa and Daddy and him. So in the drugstore.
You have your soda fountain glass
Yeah, my
there.
soda. Yeah.
And I have some of the bar stools in my basement from the soda fountain that someday when we finish the basement will be turned into a soda fountain down there for us. So the history is still existing. It's still out there just spread out amongst the whole family in different places. So.
This is a picture of the drugstore in 1958. And the 1958 Chevrolet belonged to the 2 lady coaches at Boone County.
Oh,
They
the
were
twins.
sisters, yeah.
Huh. All right, so here we go.
That's the old drugstore.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine.
And that's me at the Merrill Drug Company in Cincinnati.
If you would let me spend my whole life loving you, like to be a queen, sweetheart. Now every time I look at you, something is on my mind. Baby, we be so high, oh, I'd be amused if I could take you up in paradise up above.
Those are the exact same tools we had in our drugstore.
So, but we didn't talk about the show globes. Do you want to
Now,
talk
the show
about that?
globes that you showed there before, the one with the colored water, before the pharmacies really developed, it was a symbol like the barber pole at a barber shop. The show globe indicated, and it would show how much skill that the pharmacist had. He wasn't really a pharmacist, he was an apothecary, which mixed, made chemicals and everything. And it was a real talent to even separate with different densities of the liquid. It could be different layers of medication, or not medication, but of liquid. And the pharmacists that could do that would show off their talent about how they could really mix things. And that was really it's like barber pole of the barber shop.
So where was the old shop and where was the new one?
What was that?
Where was the old drugstore and then where was the new one?
Okay. Do you know where the new soup kitchen is? On Main Street, the corner of Shelby and Main.
Okay.
That new building there, that was the original location of the drugstore. And I think in 1914 it was called Arnold's Soda Fountain and Candies or something. It goes back that far. And the lady, the drugstore that my father bought, he bought it from Ann Connor, who was a lady pharmacist, and they lived in that same building. And her husband was a grocer, and he had his grocery store right where the reminiscent tea thing, or right there at the corner.
Yes.
It was in that same
Yes,
building.
cafe.
I think kind of where that herbal shop is right now.
Ann Connor was also the city clerk. So whenever the council meeting would be held, city council or town council in those days, they would meet at the old town hall and Ann Connor took the minutes.
Now, Florence was a different time and space when we were growing up. I mean, it was an unusual place that, like we say, it was kind of like Mayberry, or everybody knew everybody, or if you didn't know them, you know somebody who did. It was a fun place.
And this building was about 2 blocks down from the old building, so.
Was that area called Stringtown? Or was it all
Well-
just Florence?
It's always been Springtown what's Stringtown on the Pike? That's,
Well, Stringtown is it used to be a carriage stop, and they used to have hotels and everything in Florence. This drugstore was like a catty corner from Stringtown today. The shop, it's just right across and diagonally from where Stringtown is. And the house, my dad bought it from Danny Houston's mother and father, and Danny was he worked for Al Roberts at the filling station. He had his own filling station in Florence. But Florence was just a really different place.
The only one I remember working at the old drugstore was Edwin.
Yeah, my grandmother, Lula.
Yeah.
No, she lived down in Petersburg when I'm talking Bellevue. When I'm talking.
Oh, IMA? Her
Her name
Emma.
was Edwin. It was Edwin. And the little woman.
Oh, Evelyn, yeah, Evelyn and, they lived down in Petersburg.
Yeah.
On Petersburg Road is, what was his name? He had a nickname. Evelyn Rogers and Tick. Oh, yeah, because we used to go hunting down there, place, because she worked at the drugstore.
She's a wiry little woman. She's
You remember Ida, or Miss Grace?
I can't get her.
When Dad first opened the drugstore, Miss Grace must have been 100 years old then. And worked there forever, so.
Denham Park and bikes had it, and where the barber shop was, there was a big drop off there, and the gravel was there, and everybody parked their bikes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Harold Bennett's barber shop. It was right, you could go, come in the drugstore, just went off to the left. Mr. Bennett had his barber shop in there.
He lived there on Time Park.
You don't have any, yes, ma'am.
Back in the day, my dad's pharmacist made up a green salve that would fix anything on your skin. Did your father or grandfather mix up green salve?
Oh, I tell you what, they mixed up everything. They really did. I mean, my grandfather, I don't know, did you have a picture of him?
Up front here, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he was really the one
right
that
there.
did a lot of compounding, because he had his degree in 1898, or his license in 1898. But they made everything. I've got some files at home. Today, all pharmacy files are done electronically. I know Jim, if he's at work, they'll just, transmit the prescription over the internet, and it goes to the pharmacy, and the pharmacy fills it. Well, when I was started, and my father and them, they would either have a handwritten prescription, or they would call it in on the phone. Then it was assigned a number, and then it was filled. But now the computer does everything today.
Daddy and Pa did mix things out before. I told Buddy he's turned into a pill pusher.
Back in the day, I remember you used to, it'd be called a Rexall pharmacy. Did
Rexall,
you
if you saw that
guys,
in there, it was a Rexall drugstore.
was this also a Rexall, or did that go away when you
Yeah,
went?
this was a Rexall drugstore.
Okay,
And it was like not a franchise, but it was, you could buy everything in the world from Rexall. I mean, they had all kinds of liniments, everything that you could sell in a drugstore, Rexall made it.
I didn't know if you had to pay a membership fee to Rexall.
I'm not sure
to
if
get that
they did or
name.
not, but I mean, it was, they used to have the 1 cent sales where if you bought one and then they added a penny to it, they'd give you another one
Right.
for a penny. Even in the drugstore, when they had the toy store downstairs and upstairs, they would have a drawing that went on for maybe 2 or 3, 4 months before Thanksgiving. And everybody came in and they bought something, they would get tickets or that they could put in a drawing. At the end of the year, they get a new bicycle or, either
Right.
something like that. That was fun because everybody in the world was in there trying to get that.
I remember a time years before that when all of the businessmen in Florence went together for a Christmas raffle, and if you bought $1 worth of